We are Maria
and Nicole. We're two secular homeschooling moms that have
been there, done that. Homeschool moms are always on call. There are no days off, and even if it's not a school day, we're still the one answering all the questions. Since you're listening to this episode, you're probably the default parent, the one on call 24/7 when your kid is sick, when they have a boo-boo or a bad dream, and all those teenage issues.
And even though we are grateful for the extra time we get with our children, many other moms would really envy us this.
Yeah.
It is hard to be on all the time. You definitely need to try and carve out some time for yourself in the hustle and bustle of homeschool life.
Yeah, in today's episode 50, we're going to be talking about the importance of self-care and give you 11 ways to ensure that you are at your best for not only your family, but for yourself.
And as usual, we want to stress that our podcast is an inclusive space for your everyday parents that are looking for education options. We are not here to convince you to homeschool. We want to stress that you need to do what works for your child and for your family.
Every family's different.
Absolutely. And you know your children best. So feel free to take what advice or information you get from here that works for you and chuck the rest.
Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Maria. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just got back from vacation.
How nice. How was your trip?
We went to Florida. We played hooky. I took my 16-year-old out to Hollywood, Florida. Well, we were in Fort Lauderdale. We stayed on the beach. And I took him to see John Mayer for his 16th birthday.
Oh, my gosh. How fun. We talked about it several weeks ago, and it was still a surprise. Like, at what point did you...
It wasn't a surprise.
It wasn't?
For
Okay.
his birthday. So, yeah.
Okay.
It was so good. He puts on such a great show. My son's a musician, and this is his favorite artist. And so, we decided to, hey, let's not just fly in town for the concert. Let's go to the beach. We stayed right there on the water. And, yeah, we just played. We played in the water. The water was warm.
And you ended up with good weather after all?
I kept looking at the weather app, and it kept saying rain, 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 rain. Even when it wasn't raining, it said rain. And yeah, it rained twice. Once when we were under this tiki hut right after playing in the beach and we were protected. And the other was on the way to the concert that was indoor and at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
They do a Hard Rock Live casino. It is such an incredible place. They call it the Guitar Hotel because they have this huge guitar that shoots out from the casino hotel.
Oh my gosh, fun.
Resort. But oh my gosh, have you been there?
I've been to Hollywood. My dad actually grew up there, so I've been there a lot, but I haven't been to that particular venue.
Wow.
But I've spent a lot of time at the beach there. And...
They smoke inside. Like the main casino is in the main floor. It's huge. And that's where they smoke, and they have designated non-smoking rooms that you have to go. I'm like, why aren't the smoking ones behind the doors? I don't know.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
I mean, remember how weird it was, like when we grew up, that everybody smoked everywhere, and then it hasn't really been that long.
Even on airplanes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many times my parents took us out to dinner to some smoky bar. I mean, it wasn't really a bar, but like everybody smoked. It was just so bizarre.
Well, what's funny, when they started doing designated smoking sections, you would have to walk through the smoking section to get to your non-smoking section. So weird.
It doesn't. Yeah, and like you really can keep the smoke in one section too.
Yeah.
Like that part is weird.
Yeah, I remember when Arlington here in North Texas, Arlington, when it was the first place to go 100% smoke free.
Yeah.
And people lost their minds. But,
oh my gosh. Yeah. I remember it being a huge big deal. We moved from somewhere that was like non-smoking back to a place that was still smoking. And I remember we were shocked. We were like, what is this? This is insane.
Here you're a little nasally today.
Oh my gosh. Well, while you were gallivanting around Florida, I've been on my deathbed.
Aww.
I've had a horrible, horrible head cold. And, you know, my husband had it like the week before. He had gone on some like crazy time traveling trip and came back with it, but I kind of blew it off a little bit because he has a tendency to go man cold.
Oh my gosh. No.
Oh my goodness. But this has been a doozy. But of course, you know, I am the default parent. You know, this kind of ties into our episode today.
Your duties don't
I've
stop.
been on my deathbed, but I've still like made everybody dinner every night and driven Jillian to a million places. I helped my son move.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's a great lead into this episode. You know, you got to take care of yourself.
You do have to take care of yourself.
You do. And I love being a homeschool mom. I mean, this journey has been filled filled with quality time. I've fostered strong relationships with each one of my children and then them with each other. It's filled me with like empowering moments when I taught them how to read and we learned together as a family. But let's be honest, being a homeschool mom really is a 24/7, 365 gig, especially for single moms like me or moms like you whose partners travel a lot.
Yeah.
Homeschooling is a rewarding but demanding job for us because we are always on duty.
Oh, for sure. While I treasure this time I've had, I mean, I love laying down with my kids, reading books till they fall asleep. I adored taking them and their teen friends to a class or the mall during the school day and getting to listen to all the hot gossip in the car. I've really, really enjoyed all those long park days through the years, but oh my goodness, I'm tired.
We are all tired.
We're all tired.
Yeah, since there are no days off, it's often really difficult to make time for ourselves. I've had to learn to squeeze in quick moments for myself, even if it's just 2 minutes. Those moments can be super valuable. Incorporating self-care practices into your life is crucial to maintain your well-being and ensure you have the energy and patience to provide a quality education for your child. So we're going to be laying out 11 ways to help you fill your cup as a homeschool mom so you can be calm, you can be present, and have more fun guiding and learning with your kids.
I love that term, the fill your cup.
Yeah, I do.
And I remember, the idea is that you have to fill your cup before you fill everybody else's. And I remember reading it. I don't remember where I first read it, like in a book about, dealing with small children. But we used it so much that Jillian would yell at her sister. Like when they weren't paying attention to her enough, she'd be like, "You have to fill my cup, Jane. You have to fill my cup before you can go play with your friend.
My cup runneth empty."
It was so funny. But let's jump into it. Number 1, set boundaries. Establishing clear boundaries between your homeschool and your mom hours and personal time is an essential part of self-care. You want to create a schedule that includes dedicated breaks for yourself during the day. Don't feel like you have to stop and answer that call from grandma in the middle of schooling or work on more school stuff when you're done and toasted for the day. Set dedicated times for yourself.
Yeah, and also overscheduling is so easy to do. If we want to take better care of ourselves, we must learn to guard our time. And guarding your time can look like saying no to something, or it can be more about prioritizing your own goals first. Sometimes saying no gives us the freedom to slow down and really be present for the things that are important to us.
Oh my gosh, and saying no is like one of the hardest things for me to do.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for a lot of people. You really have to kind of work on that and, figure out a way to do it because it is really important. I totally end up being a yes person and I overextend myself and then I get really resentful towards the people I've committed to and really it's all my fault. Like I did this to myself. It's not their fault. They asked me to do something and I was like, sure. So it's something to work on.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move on to number 2, prioritize sleep. And everyone talks about this when talking about self-care. It's because it's really that important. So be sure you're getting enough rest. Burning the candle at both ends is really tempting for all of us homeschool moms. We all want extra time to do all the things. Getting the rest you need is an important part of becoming the mom you want to be and giving yourself and your family the very best version of yourself.
A well-rested mind and body are better equipped to handle the challenges of homeschooling and that just family life. I'm very protective about my sleep. I always have been. It also helps maintain like a healthy weight, build progress in the gym, keep me sane. All of those things are important to me. My friend and I actually use an app to track our sleep and we compare every morning. And my husband thinks we're crazy because I always have to like check my watch before answering him when he asks me how I slept the night before. I'm like, oh, let me look. He's like, you can't just tell me how you feel. No, I have to check the app.
Sometimes when I feel super rested, I look and I slept like 2 hours. Like,
right,
what?
I
or
know.
Vice versa. Like,
exactly. That's why we have to check the app.
Yeah. Like I feel like I didn't sleep and all of a sudden I look, I'm like, oh my God, I slept 9 hours. But yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I really do struggle with this one myself. Menopause has hit so hard and it's no joke how it can affect your sleep. I can fall asleep on a dime, but I tend to not stay asleep for very long. And I'm a very early riser, so if I go to sleep late, I get very little rest. And if you're having trouble sleeping too, we've got some really great tips right here that we're going to talk about. And the first one is getting more exercise during the day. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in detail down the list, but that's for getting good sleep. That's what you need to do.
Get more exercise. Staying off devices in the hour or so before bed. There's tons and tons of research out there about how computer screens and, our phones and the lights interrupt our circadian rhythm and all of that. So, pick up a book, get off the device, get off your phone before bed.
There's a lot of value in reading the paper book. You also want to keep your bedroom cozy. Some people like to create a spa-like atmosphere. I always make sure that my bed is made before I get in. I don't always make it in the morning like I should, but I always try to make it before I get in. And I also make sure that my room is not full of clutter, and that always helps me to relax.
Yeah, we like to protect our bedroom space and keep it really relaxing. It helps you get in bed and go to sleep.
Yeah, a lot of people choose to not have a TV in there. I don't have a TV in my bedroom.
Yeah, I don't have one. We have before in the past, but we don't have one right now. You can also try taking, melatonin or some natural calm or drinking some sleepy time tea. All of the, those usually have chamomile in them, kind of stuff like that helps you relax and get in the sleep mode too.
Right. And taking magnesium glycinate before bed has helped me a lot. I usually take it about 30 minutes before I actually head to my bedroom. That always helps me relax.
Yeah. And of course, consider seeing a doctor if you are really struggling with this, because it could be an underlying condition, or if you're perimenopausal or menopausal like us, there's other ways to help.
Yeah, and getting enough sleep is not only going to benefit you, this is also for your entire family. We want you to be happy and healthy.
Exactly. So number 3 would be a morning routine. Self-care starts as soon as you wake up. So consider starting your day with a calming morning routine that includes activities like meditation, yoga, journaling, or a healthy breakfast to set a positive tone for the day. Morning routines, no matter how small or big, can help boost productivity and creativity and reduce stress.
Right. And even though we just talked about getting all that rest, if you can just take a little bit of time and wake up a little earlier, and this is really going to allow you more time in the morning. Spend this time, or at least maybe the first 30 minutes of your day, with no media. This is a game changer for me and for reducing stress and setting up my day for success. Days that I have chosen to sleep in are always so rushed, and I'm much less patient with my kids and a lot less pleasant when I don't do that.
Yes, you like to get up really early most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And I have slowly become more of a morning person. I do love being up in a quiet house way before everybody else and drinking my coffee and reading my book. And I really do find that I have way more hours in the day this way. I do not like that rushing around trying to get everything in. And, like you said, trying to, getting that sleep but waking up earlier. That means going to bed a little bit earlier. My mom always is like, oh, I just can't get up in the morning because I have such a hard time sleeping. And my dad's always like, you don't have a waking up problem. You have a going to bed problem.
That's true.
And that's true.
Well, and I always find it a lot easier in the mornings whenever I always review what I'm going to do for school the week before, usually on Sunday or Friday leading into that next week. But if in the morning, I look at my day ahead in detail, it really helps my school day go so much smoother.
Yeah.
So during that morning time.
Crucial. So just a reminder that this is a weekly episode. We drop one every Thursday morning just for you. And if you have any additional ideas or comments, please come and comment on our Facebook page, on the episode thread, or send us an email at info@btdthomeschool.com. We'd really love to hear from you.
So what are some more ways to incorporate self-care?
Well, number 4 would be exercise, like we mentioned before. Incorporating regular physical activity into your routine is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And this is a biggie for me. I know it is for you too. I really, really need my daily walk, and it kind of clears my head. I do a lot of, I kind of talk through our podcast while I'm on my morning walk. I get a lot of stuff worked out in my head. And, I also lift weights 4 days a week. Whether it's a brisk walk, a workout, a yoga session, exercise can reduce stress and boost your mood. And you can go for a walk or just pace around your home. It doesn't even have to be, you don't have to head out on a trail and say, I'm going to do 4 miles. Walking is really the simplest exercise that almost anyone can do.
Yeah, I actually do pace in my house. I have a big circle from my kitchen to my living room to my homeschool room, and I can literally get 5,000 steps that way. But I pace and think too. So sometimes I'm on my phone just pacing this way. I don't hit a divot in the road or something and fall.
Right.
Yeah, and tracking steps is an easy way to increase your movement. You can use your phone or a simple step tracker. It's fun to see the numbers go up on my watch. I love to see that.
I do too.
I used to have a Fitbit and I upgraded to an Apple Watch and I love it. You can even get your kids trackers and then you can compete with each other. We've definitely done some step competitions this way. It possibly involved our entire park day group. I also play tennis and racquetball, pickleball, and softball.
Yeah. And we both have hiking groups. We've both participated in each other's hiking groups before. My kids don't even come on my homeschool hiking group anymore. They're too old. But I will continue to do it forever because it is my favorite thing.
Well, they're not too old, but they like to sleep in.
Yes, yes.
Well, and I've joined in your hike group after dropping my kids off at an event before. The hiking group that I started, I think in 2018 or 2019, it's an adult-only group that I do when my kids are with my ex. So I'm like, yeah, do it.
We love it.
Okay, so moving on to the fifth thing is to delegate and share responsibilities. Don't hesitate to involve other family members. Sharing the responsibilities of homeschooling can really lighten your load. Have an older sibling read to a younger or teach a younger sibling a concept. If your partner can take on even just one subject, that can really take the load off, maybe math or science. Or maybe there's an uncle or an aunt or a grandparent that has a skill that they can teach. This can not only help teach your child, but it can also create a regular bonding time with that family member.
Yeah, we've even shared responsibilities teaching each other's kids.
Yeah.
So you can reach out to other homeschool families. And don't be afraid to outsource some classes. We've done that. I outsource math and science to Dr. Reed. It's great. And if you can afford it, hire a cleaning person, order groceries online, pay your kids to do some extra chores outside their regular responsibilities. There's all kinds of ways that you can ease your load. And we talked about this extensively in our recent episode about finding balance in your home and your homeschool.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to number 6. And this is such an important part of homeschooling, and I'm always shocked when I see people skip this step. Connecting with other homeschool families. Connecting with others is not just for the kids. We get so much out of it too. Join homeschooling support groups or online communities where you can share experiences, seek advice, and build a sense of camaraderie. It's so important to have a support system made up of people who get it and can be there for you emotionally and offer help and encouragement when you need it. We've loved our homeschool mom friends. I do. I know you do because you love me. And we talk about this all the time.
For sure. There's times where all we really need to do is hear that we're doing a good job.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
You might not feel like you need help with curriculum or you've got it when it comes to, homeschooling and this and that. But we all need each other. We all need a little positive reinforcement sometimes. And I recently shared a post on my personal Facebook page about how hard it is to kind of find yourself when you're, 40 to 50 and your kids are grown up and you've suddenly started to figure out who you are or you're trying to and, think about what you're doing or what you want to do later. And a friend and I were talking about that yesterday on a walk. And we were wondering if it's a little bit harder because for us, a lot of our identity is wrapped up so much more in being a homeschool mom. We've not necessarily had the extra freedom that stay-at-home moms get when they send their kids to school. We're on all the time. We're always together with our kids.
All the time.
It's kind of an interesting take.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into our number 7 on the list, and that's personal interests. And I think that this might be the most important way to self-care, but it can be one of the hardest for a lot of moms. Mm-hmm. Make time for your hobbies and interests outside of your kids and homeschooling. Pursuing your passions can be a fulfilling way to recharge. And that kind of goes along with what you're saying about figuring out what to do later. Maybe don't wait to figure that out. Carve some time out now for your interests. I've done that with my sports and now with creating this podcast and our website and all the freebies that I make. This passion project has been so very fulfilling.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier how being a single mom puts everything on my shoulders, but also when my kids are with my ex, I have these extra downtimes where I have had time to pursue my own personal interests. I probably give all my adult friends whiplash by being totally available and then completely off grid when I have my kids. But the point is to make time for yourself and for your passions.
Yeah, it really is important. And I know it's hard. It's easy to feel guilty about taking time for ourselves and for our hobbies and interests, but time really does go by quickly. And you don't want to all of a sudden end up with kids gone and out of the house and you don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
And a lot of us end up feeling that way around this time in our lives.
That's so true. We will include some of the links and ideas and everything that we're talking about on our show notes on our website, so be sure to check that out after you listen. I'm going to have some great free resources for this episode, so sign up for our newsletter so you don't miss out. So let's move on to number 8.
Meals and nutrition. Prioritize healthy eating habits. Proper nutrition can positively impact your energy levels and overall well-being. It can also be a family affair. We talked in our balance episode about meal planning, menus, all of that, your grocery budget. We even created an entire menu planning packet that you can download for free. Eating better doesn't mean having to adopt a strict diet or totally changing up your menu all at once.
Yeah, you can begin with small choices like replacing unhealthy snacks or being more aware of protein sizes. One tool that really helped me to make better choices about food is a food scale. Another thing that always helps me feel better is making sure that I get at least 100 grams of protein every single day.
Yeah, I'm a big protein eater as well, especially since I'm a weightlifter. I like to have that give me progress in the gym. And also drink a lot. Of water.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We've both had to do our gallon a day for our
75
hard.
Well, that's one thing that I've adopted that I try. I don't always do it. Like if I'm not paying attention, I don't get my gallon.
Yeah.
But I always instantly feel better when I hit my gallon a day.
It does. It puffs out your skin in a good way. When you're dehydrated, you're kind of, yeah. The point is drink more water than you're currently drinking because I bet you're not drinking enough. And, one of my favorite things to do, too, is to go to the farmer's market on the weekends by myself. I get a coffee or a smoothie because they've always got other vendors other than just, the fruits and veggies guys. I look at the Turkish jewelry, all of that stuff. And I just wander and find some fresh fruits and veggies. And I don't know why buying some of the same exact groceries that I would buy from the store, but at the farmer's market motivates me to eat healthier.
I love that. Yeah. Just being in that environment and being outside and getting your groceries. It is kind of rejuvenating and exciting.
So go try it and get some cool Turkish earrings while you're there and a homemade soap or soy candle.
Yeah. Essential oils. There's always that. Well, and our friend Galadriel's daughter, she had her little knitted stuffed animals.
Yeah, go support some cute little homeschool kid out there becoming an entrepreneur.
You said it right.
Woo.
Okay, so moving on to number 9. I love this one. Limit negativity. Another step that has been a really important part of my self-care journey is to do just this. Sometimes that means limiting the amount of news media I take in. That definitely happens around election time. And sometimes it means muting people on my social media.
Oh, there's definitely days that I will go through and snooze everyone. I love that. Snooze someone for 30 days. And then
Did sometimes you snooze me?
Not you, but yeah. And then sometimes they pop back up and you're like, oh no, I'm not ready for you yet. Let's put you back on. We're going to put you back on snooze. And I do actually have a rule. Like if I have to continue snoozing you, then I need to reevaluate if I really need. Like, are we really friends? We have a friend, one of our homeschool mom friends, ended up doing that to her entire friend list. She snoozed everybody and only left her local groups up for planning purposes. It was a little extreme, but it put her in a better mindset. I know, it's interesting. I mean, I have 700 friends. That would be a lot of work, but it's interesting. And I do a lot of socializing through social, so I don't ever go completely off grid, but cutting back does help.
Yeah. Yeah, I have certain favorites that but then the algorithm catches up and only you see those people and then somebody else that you may want to hear some event, you don't see it. It just flies by you. So I don't like that part about it.
I know. Parts of it are hard. I have a friend who posts a lot about, a certain social issue that I am interested in, but I have to be careful with liking her stuff because then I only get her stuff and she posts a lot. So I always tell her, I'm like, hey, I agree with 100% of what you say, but I'm only going to like 70% of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's just you on my feed by yourself.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to number 10. During the school day, I would suggest to schedule short breaks to relax and recharge. Even a few minutes of deep breathing or stretching can really help. And I'm the power nap queen.
You are.
I have always incorporated a midday quiet time, especially when my kids were little and they needed naps themselves. And my kids knew from an early age, do not mess with mom during this time. I only need about 10 minutes, but let me tell you, this has been essential for my overall well-being, and I look forward to it every day, even when I don't have my kids. Every day.
It's funny that now that Cameron drives and we don't both go to like the theater at the same time, I don't see you in your car sleeping.
That's true.
Where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go say hi to Maria. Oh, never mind. It's power nap time.
Don't mess with me. Even my friends know, don't mess with me during my power nap.
Oh my gosh. My breaks usually involve taking animals out, like the dogs outside. But I do love to go sit on my back porch and enjoy the fountains. I live on a golf course with fountains and these ponds. And sometimes I like hide out there with the dogs. You know, they need me until they start barking or the kids come looking for me. What are you doing out here? I thought we were doing math. I'm like, okay, I'll be right there.
All right. So this is number 11. We're going to move on to our last and final thing, and that's self-reflection and assessment. Periodically assess your homeschooling approach and make adjustments as needed. Self-reflection can help you identify areas where you can streamline or improve your teaching methods. And this may not seem like a self-care topic, but I promise, as a homeschool mom, it most certainly is. If you're wasting time on something that doesn't work, your stress level will go through the roof.
Yeah, remember, we always talk probably every episode about the key to homeschooling is to be flexible and adaptable. And it really does. It applies to everything from curriculum to schedule to balancing your home.
Exactly. And remember that self-care is not selfish. It's essential for your mental, emotional, and physical health. Self-care is often a problem for most moms. It's a draining, sacrificial job to raise children.
Being a homeschool mom, though, takes sacrifice to a new level. It's so important that you take care of yourself, but many of us completely ignore our own needs. Don't do it.
Nope.
It's okay to put yourself first every now and then. When my older one went to college, it finally was kind of a slap in the face to me to catch up. I had been great about booking my kids their dentist appointments and doctor's appointments and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I hadn't been to the dentist in years.
Yeah, we do
an
that.
embarrassing amount of time to tell the person on the phone that I hadn't been in this many years. But it was funny because she was like, I'm a mom too. I understand putting your kids and your husband first through all of this stuff and then kind of forgetting about yourself or letting it go to the wayside. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Like listen to this episode and then immediately go book yourself a dentist appointment, a mammogram, and a doctor's appointment.
Right, for sure. When you take care of yourself, you'll be better equipped to provide a positive and nurturing homeschooling experience for your entire family.
Yes, self-care is key.
Do it.
Do it. Meanwhile, tune in next week for episode 51. We're going to talk about homeschool PE, health, and fitness.
I'm excited about this.
It's going to be a fun episode.
See you then.
Cheers.
Be sure to check us out on our website at btdthomeschool.com, as in been there, done that, btdthomeschool.com. You can join our mailing list and get news and updates on future podcasts, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at the BTDT Been There, Done That Homeschool Podcast.